So before we get started, I just want to mention to everyone a couple of sort of technical issues or suggestions. If you could, first of all, hit *6 to mute your line, just so that we don't hear any feedback coming through from things going on in your offices or at your location. We're still working our way through the new live meeting system, so there eventually will be ways we can turn that off. But just for now, if you could hit *6, that'd be great. Also, you may get some sound coming through your computer. You just might want to mute your computer speakers as well. So that would be great. Again, we have a number of folks joining us from across Canada, and I think we actually even had some folks in the U.S. So welcome to our neighbors in the South. And we'll get started in a few minutes here, or actually a few seconds. Great, well, we're at the top of the hour, and I want to thank everyone for joining in. My name is Jeff Lamb, and I'm going to be giving the presentation today. I work for Pacific Alliance Technologies, and first I'll talk a little bit about who we are and the services that we provide. But mostly for this half-an-hour webinar, we're going to be presenting the case study that has just been released in the ESRI's publication in the ArcNorthNews that was released this month. There was a great little project we worked on for the city of Whitehorse that we're going to be presenting today. It's going to be a very high-level presentation. So a couple of things I want to mention is if you have questions, detailed questions, feel free to ask them during the presentation. And you'll see at the top of the screen there's a Q&A section. And feel free to write in your question there. And at the end, we'll address any questions. And again, if you want to hit *6 to mute your line, and at the end, instead of, if you don't want to write a question, if you want to ask the question, at the end of the webinar, just hit #6 to unmute. But for the duration of the webinar, it'd be great if you could hit *6. And if you're getting a little bit of feedback through your computer, you may just want to mute your computer speakers. So again, we are presenting the case study for Whitehorse, but here's the quick agenda for this little webinar. I'm going to talk a little bit about who Pacific Alliance is, our industry profile, and some of the services and customers that we've been servicing across the country. There's a number of folks on the call that are sort of just hearing about Pacific Alliance and hearing about iVAULT. So I just want to give a little bit of a background of who we are. And of course, I'm going to talk a lot about the project that we completed for the city of Whitehorse to get some talk about the feedback from our clients on the project. So Pacific Alliance Technologies, we're a market leader in CAD, web mapping, and spatial data management. We have designed and developed and implement our iVAULT web GIS application. That really is the core of our solutions here. I'm going to be showing you some features of iVAULT today. Of course, we specialize in the customization and implementation of software solutions, and everything that we do here is driven by the customer's needs. Our solutions are highly integrated into your systems, specifically in municipal government, where we integrate to asset management systems and finance systems, which I'll be speaking about today. And here in Canada, we're part of the Stardine organization, which ranks in the top 25 software companies in Canada. And Stardine owns Pacific Alliance as well as WorkTech and Vadim and Diamond and Tempest. So we are the GIS portion or the mapping portion and integrate all the information coming from those systems onto the map. We have close ties with many of the leading industry software vendors. So our solutions work whether you've chosen an ESRI platform or whether you've have an Autodesk platform. Actually, we also have services and solutions that work using Google Maps as well as Microsoft, Bentley, and we're partners with Safe Software for data translation. So we typically cover the full range of services across many vendors so that we can adequately meet the needs of our clients. And we're doing work in many industries. not just municipal government, but GIS applies to so many industries, oil and gas and utilities and airports and engineering, as well as telecommunications and geomatics. So all of these industries can benefit from the software and the services that we provide. And finally, we cover the full range of support services from development and customization, asset management, migration and implementation, and training and support. So when you purchase iVAULT or you go with us, we offer a full range of solutions. And finally, our customer base, just a few of our customers across Canada, down into the U.S. Many municipal organizations are choosing iVAULT and choosing Pacific Alliance because of our strong integration component to many of the leading GIS software and CAD vendors, as well as the existing asset management and finance systems available. And that really was the impetus for this project with the City of Whitehorse. The City of Whitehorse were using MapInfo at the desktop level to manage all their GIS information, but they were finding that the information wasn't easily integrated into other systems. They weren't able to integrate into their asset management systems very well, or their finance data, and they, excuse me, I'll just go back here, decided to migrate over to an enterprise license of ESRI's ArcGIS 10. And that was really the start of this project. Mike Merritt at the city did just an incredible amount of work migrating his information out of a old MapInfo system and into the latest ESRI's technology. And of course, this is where our iVAULT technology fit in quite nicely. They chose iVAULT because of the flexible architecture and also because of the integrations to our sister companies, Diamond and WorkTech. And just at a high level, the integration or the architecture of our iVAULT system, we've taken a very open approach and a very cross-platform approach so that we can integrate into many maps and systems. But how it works, I mean, it's all driven by data. From the GIS aspect, the spatial information is really the key. If you have all your property parcels and all your assets, whether they be sewer or water or hydro assets, maps, then it's very simple through our flexible architecture to integrate that spatial data to your existing databases, whether those databases be Diamond for managing the finance, or Tempest for permitting, or VATM as well as an alternative finance system, or some of the asset management systems online today, as Cartograph or WorkTech or CityView. Now, we're not limited to this list, but this is some of the popular software solutions that we integrate with. And our architecture is flexible enough to provide a two-way integration. So we can integrate the data at the database level. So connecting your geometry or your spatial features to your back-end databases of all of these systems, and then publishing that information out to the web. And I'm going to show you some examples there. Of course, we also do an application level integration. So where in the data level integration, we just integrate to the database and present the database attributes on the map. Here we can actually have the Diamond or the WorkTech interface call the map and do some analysis on the fly directly from the user interface of Diamond, and vice versa. We could call Diamond from the map, and I'll show you these solutions. But it's all based on this open architecture, and that really is our core philosophy. Is iVAULT was built to facilitate integration. Unlike many of the systems online today, it's very difficult to integrate into other systems, and we've architected an administration module that very quickly and easily facilitates those integrations to the mapping information as well as the information in your other systems. Now, just before I go any further, I just want to direct everyone to the latest version of ArcNorthNews, and here's the URL. Of course, we'll be posting this onto our website, ivault.pat.ca, and I would urge you to go on and have a look at that publication. There's just some great articles about some of the new and exciting things going on in the GIS world, and of course, ESRI chose this project particularly to put into this publication because of what we're doing with the integrations to the finance and asset management, and because of our architecture for iVAULT. So I won't read the whole article right now, but we only have half an hour. But I will direct you to this link to have a look at that article. It was a nice project. Now, of course, what we did on the project is we integrated first to the Diamond financials information, and if any of those folks on the call right now are familiar with the Diamond interface, what you're seeing here is just a screen capture of the tax roll system, the tax roll maintenance application. So like many systems in an enterprise, whether it's asset management or whether it's a CRM or a finance system, you know, they're very they're all data-driven systems. There's information in here about all of the tax roll for the municipality, but there's no view into the information from a spatial context. And those, I mean, we all know that nowadays there's location information embedded in almost everything we do. You know, you can turn on your cell phone these days and be tracked through the GPS. All information is very easy to geocode and to find and link it to a location. And that really is the key here. When you start looking at information from a spatial context, it gives you a better interpretation of what's going on in your data. Allows you to highlight those anomalies and center on those areas that need to be adjusted or looked at. So what we've done here in the Diamond interface for the City of Whitehorse is very simply integrated this little pushpin icon, so that when a user does a selection set in the Diamond Financials interface, it's very easy now to call the map. So I've made a selection in Diamond, I've clicked on the pinpoint, and the map is going to open up. It's going to zoom to your spatial data that's maintained by your GIS or your CAD departments, and it's going to show all the attribution directly coming from your Diamond database. So right here, this is just the front-end web, and I'm going to show a little bit more in a few minutes here of iVAULT. But you can see now we have a spatial context to our non-spatial data. By linking it to the property parcel or by linking it to the address ID, we can start doing some spatial analysis and presenting the information on the map, which is exactly what Whitehorse wanted. Mike Merritt at Whitehorse spent a lot of time getting their infrastructure and their GIS data migrated over into an ArcSCE database, and then once that process was complete, we were very easy to integrate onto the map using iVAULT. And of course, that integration is not just a one-way integration. So in the previous example, we selected data in the Diamond interface. Well, now you can see we can select information on the map. Let's say we wanted to do a mail-out or a custom report to the folks at these 4 property parcels. Well, we could very easily make that selection now on the map, click on the Diamond icon, and be able to go back into the Diamond interface. Here's the list of all of those folks I have selected on the map, and then you can start, you know, outputting, you know, rezoning requests or mailouts for communicating with the public. And again, this is all map-driven and highly integrated into your GIS data. And it's all done through our open architecture, which I'm going to present to you in a little bit. So that's that's an example of a two-way integration, where we've not only connected to the back-end database to present the attribution on the map, but we've also called the Diamond system directly from our interface by selecting information on the map. And I've showed property parcels and addresses, but this could very easily be asset management information, such as data that Whitehorse were presenting and had stored in WorkTech. So WorkTech is an asset management and work order management system. And again, it's a data-driven system that has many forms and reports and outputs, queries that you can create on your data, but there is no spatial context to it. And that's where iVAULT fits in very nicely. Our companies, because we're sister companies, we have highly integrated our roadmap. So any updates to our software will reflect in their software and vice versa, so that our roadmaps are highly integrated, so we can provide spatial solutions to the asset management data in WorkTech. But here's an example where I've just gone into WorkTech Asset Manager, and we've selected a bridge and ran a query on it. And here's the information coming up from the bridge list. Of course, you get all your asset IDs and street numbers and road numbers and descriptions in WorkTech. But now by clicking on the little magnifying glass here in WorkTech, we have the ability to map either all of these features selected or just one of the features. And again, we'll open up iVAULT, it'll zoom to that location, and it'll bring in the database attributes coming from WorkTech into our interface. And we have a similar situation here where we're pulling data into our system. This is only read-only data, but we do have modules for iVAULT that do allow our users to edit information on the map and update other databases. So let's say this particular work order, we wanted to change some of the information. We could very easily click on these icons for editing or adding new work orders, and then write information from the map back into WorkTech. So it's a very highly integrated solution, and it's all, again, the core philosophy here is that iVAULT facilitates the integrations to many systems. And this really was one of the key benefits that the City of Whitehorse wanted to get out of this data. They wanted to present information on the map and facilitate the publication of the GIS information across the enterprise. There's many users within an enterprise or within an organization that want to view data and view it in certain ways. And here's an example of how we've integrated to the Work Manager module within WorkTech. So not only are there assets that we're tracking in WorkTech, but there's work and work orders and work that needs to be done on particular features out in the field, whether it's updating a fire hydrant or going out and doing maintenance on a telephone pole, or whatever work order has been created. We have the ability here again to link to all the information coming from WorkTech and do searches and mine into that data that's stored in WorkTech but traditionally hasn't been mapped and presented in the spatial context. Now, those are just two of the features that are available and that the City of Whitehorse were looking for. But of course, another need was to have a public, an internal and a public GIS systems where he could just present spatial data on the map, whether it was tourist information or park locations or business information. And that's where our iVAULT product works very well. So even if you don't want to integrate into any of your existing systems, our product is just a really great web GIS application. And I'm just going to present just a little bit of a demo. This is only a half-hour webinar, but I do want to go into a little bit of a demo of what our product is and how Whitehorse have used it. So I'm just going to share a different screen here. And again, if anybody does have any issues seeing my screen or anything, feel free to just raise your hand in the Q&A section or just make a note in there. But I'm sharing right now the iVAULT interface. So if you're a municipality and looking to start to publish your GIS data out to the web and out to internal users, iVAULT's a great tool for doing that, and that really was one of the reasons why the City of Whitehorse went with iVAULT. Now I'm going to be showing our demo site today. The Whitehorse site is behind their internal firewalls, and just for performance issues, it's a little bit easier to show our demo site. But all the features and functionality that I'm presenting today were provided to Whitehorse, and they're using it on a daily basis. And the first thing you're going to notice is the iVAULT interface. It's very intuitive, very easy to navigate. The version that I'm showing you today is based on ESRI's ArcGIS server 10, and we're using the Silverlight API. Now, if you've decided in a different direction and you have Autodesk, if you manage your information at the desktop level in AutoCAD Map, 3D, or AutoCAD, we also have a version of iVAULT working on MapGuide as well as Google Maps. So there's many versions of our products as far as the map publishing engine goes. But Whitehorse are an ESRI shop, and they wanted to use the latest versions of ArcGIS, so we're very happy to develop this system for Whitehorse. And you'll see it's very easy to navigate the map. There's all your standard tools for interaction, zooming and panning and selections. One of the great features now, if folks have been tracking what the ESRI community are doing, is we can integrate to their community base maps. So across the nation, I guess, organizations are publishing their base maps to the web as free web map services. And if you have an ArcGIS Online account, you can see there's hundreds. I looked last night, and they just seem to be popping up daily of all these map services that are becoming available. And here we have the ability, we've just connected to some standard base maps. So you have your physical base map, your bathymetric and topographic. The key here is we have Bing, aerial, roads, and hybrid. So if you don't already have an infrastructure or GIS system that has data for all of your municipality or all of your county, these base maps are quite nice as just a starting point for getting a GIS online. And this is one of the benefits that Whitehorse saw in implementing this site. He had lots of data for his city, but in the outlying areas, it's nice to provide some context with some of these tiled base maps which are available. Now, we have on the map, and Whitehorse have the ability to present not just one map, but actually many maps, and map services can be presented within our interface. Here in the legend, I have various groupings of spatial information. I have administration boundaries and planning data. We have facilities and property information and tourism. Now, all of these data sets, each folder is a different dynamic map service. And the great thing about our system is it's entirely role-based. So all of these maps, if you're part of the public works within the city of Whitehorse, it's very easy with our administration module to author different maps based on the type of user you are. So if I log in as a manager of public works, I probably don't want to see too much of the tourist information and things like that, but I'd be very interested in seeing where are my assets, where are the sewer lines, where are my hydrants and things like that. So our interface really does cater towards presenting information based on what type of user you are. Now, there's many ways to turn on and off this information. We could very easily go through each dynamic map service and turn on and off data, but we also have these quick maps available. So if I just want to very quickly see all the sewer utilities for the city of Whitehorse, we can we can configure the quick maps and then see the information presented on the map for that particular theme. And again, these are all role-based. If I was a finance user and I just wanted to see information pertaining to the finances of the tax base, very easy to set up different quick maps based on the type of user you are. Now I can very easily on the map select information as well. So if I select data, again, you'll see the results showing up in the results panel. And this information you can have, I guess there's an infinite number of data sources that can be linked to the spatial feature. So this just happens to be information coming from my GIS, but if I had a CRM system with information about these particular selected parcels, then that could be presented in here as well. Of course, users can output maps and create detailed reports and embed these reports into an email or into any report or document that you're creating. And these were all features that Whitehorse were looking for during the implementation. They wanted to really facilitate GIS, present GIS across the enterprise, and get people who traditionally haven't seen mapping information using the system. Our interface is very intuitive for the end users. There's a number of ways that we can select data, like I just showed, but we can also set up pre-configured searches. So one of the needs that Whitehorse had was to start presenting wildlife information and wildlife sightings onto the map. So So they have a spatial layer, I believe it's a shape file, where they were collecting all of those wildlife sightings for a number of years. They're starting to get input from the community about where various wildlife sightings are occurring. So we have the ability to start customizing searches. So if I was a user, I don't have a wildlife search set up, but you can imagine that if I was an end user of the public, I could come in here to a pre-configured search, and I could be presented with all that information coming from my wildlife database, or here it happens to be some sporting venues in the area. I could very easily search that information, the map will zoom to the location of that venue, and give us hyperlinks to various documents within the system, or within the enterprise, or even web pages that folks can go to get more information. And we can link video files, image files, documents within your organization can be linked through iVAULT to spatial features on the map. Now we're getting close to the end here, but I'm going to pop into the administrator. I just want to show everyone how these sites are set up. We've been developing iVAULT over 10 years now, and it's really coming into its own in the last few years. We've developed very simple workflows for setting up and publishing WebGIS applications, and we've divided up into 4 different areas. And Whitehorse are using this interface to deploy their GIS. Now the first section is where you can configure the look and the feel and the branding of your site. All your organization's color schemes and logos, I've been talking too long, so it logged out on me, bear with me. You can customize the color and the look and the feel so that many of our clients are spending a lot of time on their web pages, getting their social media feeds up to speed, coming up with corporate standards for color schemes and branding and things like that. And iVAULT very easily integrates and allows you to customize these themes based on your organization, or just select preset themes. Once you've set up the actual interface and the look and the feel, the next phase is to set up security. Who do you want to have access to the system? And again, I mentioned there are many user groups within the city of Whitehorse who will be looking at this data, but looking at it with just a little bit of a different filter or lens on how they want to see that information. And the great thing about our system is we integrate into the Active Directory settings that are managed within your IT. So all of those groupings that we're all part of. I mean, I'm part of a sales group here at Pacific Alliance, but we have technical groups and we have other folks in different group settings. Well, we very easily can integrate to those Active Directory groups, so that if I'm a member of the Public Works and I log into my computer in the morning, I've also logged into the GIS with the exact same user group. And this is a nice feature where you won't find in many other systems. Most systems you have to manage users within the GIS, and that actually creates a bit of a disparate situation between IT and GIS. So now we integrate directly into the systems that IT are managing. So your internal users get direct access to the maps and all the features available for those maps, and it really reduces the amount of overhead time for maintaining user access. Finally, most of the time spent on any project, and particularly the city of Whitehorse, is getting all of your maps authored, getting all your data, whether it's spatial data or attribute data in other systems, managed and organized and efficiently set up. And once that's set up, again, we have the ability to connect to an infinite number of base maps and author those base maps based on the type of user. So at some point in the near future, the city of Whitehorse will be publishing their WebGIS to the public. But through this interface, they've set up various roles and various maps and quick maps and database connections to present information very quickly to different user groups. And then finally, we have configured searches that I've showed you in the interface, so that users not just look at mapping information and see a map and see their data on a map, but can start querying that data and mining into it and start doing some basic GIS analysis with the tools that are available. And again, just I want to highlight the fact that our system is highly integrated into our sister companies, Tempest, WorkTech, Diamond. We do a two-way integration at the front-end level. And of course, any system using the defined database section, we can connect your spatial data to your attribute data in any system, which is a really nice feature for our users, and Whitehorse in particular. So just that's a very quick overview, but you can see it's a very powerful tool for presenting a very simple and easy to use interface out to non-GIS users, but giving the power of GIS and the power of linking financial information and asset management information to the spatial or the map, I guess, and allowing users to see that information presented in the spatial context. That really was the key benefit of this project for Whitehorse, is that we were able to integrate all of their systems, their GIS to their CAD and their asset management and finance information, and present it back to the users on a map. And just a little bit of a quote from Mike Merritt. And hopefully Mike's on the call today. I know he had registered, and I want to again thank Mike for being just such a great client to work with. We had been working with the City of Whitehorse for a number of years in discussions. You know, these solutions and implementing these solutions in an organization takes time. The first step is always implementing the vision and discussing, you know, where do you want to go in the future. And you know, Mike was just such a great person to work with. We helped him migrate off of MapInfo into the ESRI environment, and then implemented iVAULT ArcGIS, and he's just been a great advocate of our software. So if you're listening to the call, that is a very quick overview of our solution. We provide webinars on a weekly, almost, or definitely 2 to 3 a month. And they're all listed on our website here at ivault.pat.ca/webinars. There's a lot to implementing a GIS, but our solution has been developed over a number of years and is highly intuitive from the administration side. You don't have to have application developers on hand. Anyone with a GIS background or a database background can implement our solutions, keeps your costs down, but increases the services that you can provide both to your internal users and to the public. And it really is the key here. We're really seeing a trend these days in open government, in sharing information between organizations and divisions within government. And our system is developed to facilitate those integrations and to reduce your costs, but also present a very highly intuitive and easy to use application. So if you do have any other questions, feel free right now. There's a Q&A section at the top of your screen. And if you do want to just ask any questions, feel free to type them in there. Or if you just want to hit #6, feel free to verbally ask, and I'll just wait and see if there are any questions. And just while we're waiting here, we will be presenting another case study at the November ESRI User Conference in Vancouver. So if you're going to be at that conference, feel free to drop by the booth. We are set up at the booth there, and we will be giving a presentation on iVAULT at that venue. Also, if you're looking for more detailed information, this was just a very short case study about Whitehorse. Feel free to give me a call. Our numbers are located here, or email me directly, and I'd be more than happy to give you a detailed presentation and interactive demo of WorkTech, Diamond, or iVAULT. Great. Well, I do have, no, it doesn't look like I have any questions here, but I do thank everyone for joining in today. And if you do have any further questions, please don't hesitate to give us a call. And we'll be following up with the information of this webinar and some follow-up details by email. So thank you for joining in, and wish everyone a good day.